Peace everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I am Zewdy, and stick around and you may learn a little bit about me. So I'm making this video to answer some frequently asked questions, and it's a long overdue thing. I've been wanting to do this for a while, but here we are now. I guess it just wasn't time, and it's time now. So the questions that I'm asked across platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, is, are you still doing music? Are you still singing? And the simple answer to that question is yes. I still sing. I still intend to do music. It's what I've always wanted to do for as long as I can remember, since I was a baby. And watching my father singing growing up is just something that was always in my mind, in my heart, and my spirit to do. My voice is a gift from God, and I believe that He wants me to use it, and I am striving to figure out how to use it for His purpose and for His glory. So that's the simple answer. But I'm making this video to give you guys some clarity and context regarding my musical journey, my career, what I've been through, what I've experienced, what has happened that has brought me to where I am today. And so I took some notes to try to get things in order, and so that I don't forget anything important, details and happenings, events, and that sort of thing. And so I pray that this is received in the manner in which it was intended. And without further ado, here we go. Before my YouTube journey, I began recording with a collective called The Foundation. They go by Secret Society now. Shout out to them. I got so much love for them. This was like my beginning in recording. I was doing hooks for rappers and humble beginnings. The booth was the closet. That was our studio setup at the time. And I'm just thankful because that really got me started, because I was shy, and that helped me to start getting into the mode of recording and things like that. In 2007 was when I started recording videos on YouTube covering people's songs. That's what got me popular on here. Shout out to Chris Chaos.
This video is dedicated to the one, the only, Zewdy, my juicy blueberry silky muffin.
Because he was a bigger YouTuber than me at the time, and he helped me to be more visible in the YouTube space. So I always have to give credit to him, because he really did help me in my early YouTube days. So then in 2008, through YouTube, I connected with these producers from Norway named Lars and Yngve, and they came to the States, and I worked with them. They wrote and produced songs for me that were put on my MySpace, and we recorded at Wyclef Jean's studio, Platinum Sound, in New York. So those are good times, good memories. And I did write one song myself from production that I got from them. It was called Painless Love. I still have that rough recording. But yeah. Then in 2009, I headlined my first show at the MMAC, which is in Bloomfield or Montclair, that area of New Jersey. And with the songs that I had done with Lars and Yngve.
You could be my painless love, knowing that it's given to me from above. I think that I'm going crazy, 'cause I just think about you all of the time.
And that was an interesting experience, headlining my first show. Thankful for that. Later on in 2009, through YouTube, I connected with two people that wanted to sign me, and I ended up signing with them to Intrigue Records. That was my record deal. that many of you knew. I announced it here on YouTube when I got signed.
Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's your girl Zewdy here with some really exciting news. Okay, alright. Well, first and foremost, I would like to proudly announce that I'm signed to Entry Records. Yay! Shouts to Rosie and Dada.
It was an interesting experience. I was being advised to lie about my age for saying that I was 2 years younger than I was, and that already kind of brought a conflict because people on YouTube, I had already had a pretty strong following. People knew me, they knew a lot about me, so when that was being put out there, people questioned me about it. And you know, it was difficult for me because I didn't want to lie, but I was being persuaded to and convinced that, you know, you just do what you're told right now, and then later you'll be able to do what you want. And I just want to say that I've come to understand and learn that that's not true. You don't have to lie to get the things that you desire out of life. You don't have to lie. You don't have to be somebody that you're not. Especially if you already have some kind of vision for yourself and for your life. And, you know, I just was naive. I didn't really know, and I thought that this is what I should do. So I went along to get along, pretty much. So in 2010, my first single was released, Into the Night.
So I'm making this video to introduce to you a song of mine that's already playing in Ethiopia, in the clubs and on the radio.
And it was on all the digital stores, iTunes, Amazon, and it actually went to #1 in Ethiopian radio, which is pretty cool because I hadn't been to Ethiopia yet at that point. You know, 2010, 2011, I went to several record labels to try to get some kind of like distribution deal. I was signed to an independent label, but they wanted to get distribution through a bigger label so that we have funding and all the resources and things to do big things, right? So I never heard anything from any of the labels that I went to, and I went to a lot of them. I went to Jive, Universal, Motown, a lot of them. I'm thankful in retrospect that nothing ever worked out, because at the time, the image that I was portraying and the music that I was being given to sing did not reflect who I am truly. It just didn't. You know, I was being molded into something that was not who I truly am and who I wanted to be. But again, I just thought that that was what I was supposed to do, and then, you know, later I could be myself. So yeah, none of that ever worked out, thank God. So then in 2012, there was a period of inactivity. I was at home, and at the time, my label contract had expired, and we weren't going to re-sign until there was something for them that they had for me to do. That's what I was told, you know. So I was at home, kind of like going crazy in my mind because I didn't know like what I was gonna do. I wanted to be active. I didn't have a job because at any given moment I could be up and back in Atlanta working. But it was during this time that I was approached by Solange's management at the time, who told me, they emailed me and said that Solange saw me on YouTube and she wanted to offer the opportunity for me to audition to be a background vocalist for her on tour. And I was so elated to have that opportunity come to me. And even though you know, I was not currently signed, my contract had expired at the time, I was still gonna tell the label because of my loyalty to them. I had no intentions of like dipping on them. So I told them about this opportunity that came to me. One of them was like, yeah, you might as well. You ain't doing nothing right now. Like, go for it. One of them said, you know, go ahead. And the other one kind of tried to discourage me and say things that were not in support of this opportunity, saying like, you know, who is Solange, and you know, maybe if it was Beyonce and that sort of thing. And I really didn't care. I was just like, whatever, because you don't have anything for me to do right now, so I'm gonna take this opportunity, okay? When I got this opportunity, I was like, hell yeah. And so I did. I took that opportunity. I auditioned for Solange in Brooklyn, and I got the part to be a background vocalist, and it was so amazing. It was really one of the highlights of my career to this day. We traveled all over the US and in 4 countries in Europe. We went to England, France, Germany, and Holland, and I'm really thankful for that experience. It was my first time in Europe, and we had a good time. I learned a lot from Solange, and I'm really thankful to Allah that she saw me and, you know, had her people reach out to me. And I'm just, you know, thankful for that experience.
Running only slows you down the way. When every minute move brings yours to pay. We turn time into shapes the way you love the man.
And so I toured with Solange from the end of 2012 to the beginning of 2013, because at that time my label was saying that they were ready for me to come back to Atlanta, which is where I'd be working and staying, and it was time to focus on my own career. And at that point I was really unsure. Like, I was feeling like I was just losing faith in them, because a lot of things that I was told in the beginning of my time with this label just didn't pan out, and you know, there was just a lot of conflicting things, and I was losing faith. So but I did want to focus on my own career. As much as I loved being with Solange, I did want to get my thing going. So, you know, I let Solange know when my last show would be, which was actually in Atlanta, February 28th, 2013. And I was really sad to be leaving, but I really tried to be optimistic about my future and my career. And so after my last show, I went back to where I was staying in Atlanta, well, outside of Atlanta, at my label owner's home. And that night, early morning, was actually the first time that I ever prayed in my life, because many of you know I didn't believe in God growing up. I wasn't religious. And yeah, it was the early hours of March 1st. I prayed because I was just in such a low place, and I felt that it was because I didn't have that connection with the higher power. And I told him that I acknowledge and I believe that he exists, and I just want to know who he is. And that was a very significant part of my life. It was a very pivotal moment, because from then things started changing a lot. In 2013, moving forward, my label actually split. One of the partners of the label left, and I didn't really know why at the time, but he was no longer involved. So then it was just me and this other label owner that I was staying with. And we worked on some music. We released another single, Lover Lover, which features Joe Mercer Marley. Shout out to him, beautiful brother. This was also around the time, in 2013, when I was introduced to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. It was in April 2013, and I would say this was the beginning of the end of my time with the label, because of what was happening inside of me at this point. There was also a shift taking place in my appearance, my label's idea of my direction. Before, they had me being like a goody two-shoes, somebody younger than my actual age, and then a shift took place to where I was able to reflect a more mature person, and that was cool. You know, I was like, great, this is more accurate, you know, when it comes to who I am. So in 2014, we decided that we were going to work on an EP, which was very exciting because I had never released a project. I recorded tons of music. I have so much music from my time at that label. Like, I have like at least 3 albums worth of music, and I still have it in my iCloud, but it doesn't really mean anything to me because today I have no attachment to any of that stuff. I really am thankful that it didn't come out. But anyway, 2014, we were working on an EP. It was going to be like a 4 or 5 track project. And there was one song in particular that I recorded that I really didn't like because of the messaging of it. It was called One Night in Vegas, and it was kind of like about a one night stand type of thing. And I was being told that this was going to be my first single. And I'm like, no, I cannot. This cannot be my first single because of how that would reflect. And then like thinking about trying to recover from that. If this is going to be like my big introduction to the world with this single, having to try to like repair my image from that, that was just something I did not want to have to deal with. So that was like a point of contention with me and the label owner. And then eventually she decided it was going to be another song, which was called Drummer Boy, which I was so much happier about because I had co-written that song. It wasn't much. I had a few words in there in the second verse, but at least there was something in it, and the concept did come from real life experience. And it was co-written with Blue June, shout out to her, and the production duo Melon Moose. They were the ones who produced the song. It was a beautiful reggae track. So anyway, that was going to be my first single. We got the single cover art together and started promoting it. We did the split sheets and everything. And then the night before the song was supposed to be released, I got a call from my label owner saying that we could not release the song. And I was like, why not? And basically, I was told that they wanted to be paid up front. The producers wanted to be paid up front. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was going to be an issue because we did the split sheets and stuff. And so, I really didn't have business savvy when it comes to the industry and things like that. I really didn't know. I really did not know. So that's what I was told, and it was very upsetting and disappointing. But, there was nothing I could do about it. And so the song never came out. So then in 2015, my label owner was out of the country for several weeks, and my contract was coming up again to be expired. And at this point, I was ready to walk away. At this point, I had given a lot of years from 2009 to 2015, and I was ready to move forward. So my parents and my brother, we got together and started looking for a place for me to live outside of my label owner's home, because they lived far from Atlanta, which is where all the music and stuff was going on, the studios. And so we found a place in Decatur. And so we got a place here. And today, March 9th, is actually the 7-year anniversary of when I moved into my place where I am now. And I'm so thankful to my parents, thankful to my brother, thankful to Allah for getting me out of that place and where I am now. Yeah, we got my place, and then 2 months later in May was when my contract expired with the label, and I was given a call that day, and they asked me, what I wanted to do. Like, you can either continue working with me or you can go your own way. And I said, yes, I want to go my own way. No hard feelings, no bad blood. It's just time for me to figure out what to do on my own now. And so that was that. That was the end of my time with that label. So after that, there had been some rumors, talks that were going around that that I had stopped doing music because I married a Muslim man and he was making me not do music anymore. And I heard this from several different people, and it just wasn't the truth. That wasn't true at all. I never intended to stop doing music, and I didn't marry anyone. And so I did confront this person that the rumor was coming from, and it was denied. It is what it is. Moving forward, in September of 2015, I traveled to Ethiopia for my first time, and my parents came along with me. And my father and I performed for Balagaru Mirt, which is kind of like their version of American Idol. We were guest performers on the show, which was a beautiful, wonderful opportunity. It was the biggest crowd I had ever performed in front of.
And I could
thousands and thousands of people, and I'm just thankful for that opportunity. Sorry y'all, my phone was tripping and it stopped recording. And anyway, so yeah, after that first show of mine with my father in Ethiopia, I was asked to come back, and this time not only with my father but also with Zewdy and her band, the Grey Company. So we all traveled to Ethiopia and we performed with one another from the Gregorian New Year's Eve, so December 31st, 2015, through a few weeks in January. We were there for almost a month, and it was a beautiful experience because we all performed with each other. When I was the main artist performing, Zabib and her band would accompany me, and my dad as well. And when Zabib was performing with her band, we would accompany her where it made sense. And then when my father would perform, Zabib and I were the background vocalists, and it was a really cool experience. You know, being in Ethiopia with my sister and my father, it was just something really special, and I'm thankful for that experience. Since then, I was a part of an organization, a community organization, doing different community events and trying to do some good, you know, for our people. But there was also a musical aspect to this organization, and so I recorded a few songs with them and did a few performances.
Bismillah, second self of Allah. Ooh. That means you got developing my divinity, reflecting my femininity, walking heavy in the earth with the utmost dignity.
But it didn't really turn out the way that I thought it was going to be. That organization has since been disbanded, and it is what it is. So that's my story, a gist of it. There's so many things. There's just so much that had happened in those years that I can't really, it's hard to like pull everything together and just put it in a video. But I felt like I shared the most important details. But something I really want to emphasize and make clear to y'all is that when I was signed to the label, I didn't have creative control, and I wasn't making any money. Like, I didn't make money from the record label. The only time I really made money in my musical career was when I was with Solange, and that was not through my label. That was an opportunity that came through YouTube. So when I was singing with her for the different shows, I always got paid. But as far as you know, the record label situation, wasn't making money. And sometimes it's just a common misconception, because the way things look from the outside looking in, you might think I have money, I have resources, da-da-da. No, that's not the case. Ever since I left the label, you know, I'm a free agent. I had been working different jobs, just striving to make ends meet and, you know, pay my bills and that sort of thing. And for a long time, I didn't really have the mental capacity to focus on music, because since I wasn't making money from music, it didn't make sense to focus on it when I had real life things to take care of. Bills, food, all that kind of stuff. You know, I'm in a better place now. I really want to focus on music. It's in my heart to do so. And I'm figuring out every day how to do more and more of that. I've been slowly but surely gathering the equipment to have a home studio set up so that I could at least do rough recordings at home, and then when I get the opportunity to go to a professional studio with all the things, then I can lay the real stuff down. But to at least do it at home is, you know, would be sufficient to just get the creative juices flowing, you know. So I'm thankful for those of you who have contributed via, you know, all of the digital platforms to like donate money, as well as people who have literally bought me equipment, things from my Amazon list, and it's been helpful, and I'm, you know, doing what I can to move forward. If anybody's interested in helping me out, all of the different ways to do so are in the description box. Thank you in advance. And I'm currently presented with some potential opportunities to do music on a more full-time basis, but nothing is really set in stone right now. Nothing is certain. So I'm just being patient and prayerful and cultivating and nurturing the relationships that I have to see what happens with them. You know, there's potential, but we'll see what happens, God willing. So that is my story pretty much. I pray that you have some understanding of me and where I am and how I got here and what I've been through. Like I said, it doesn't really there's no way for me to really give you everything that's in my brain and in my experiences. There's just so much that had happened that it's just difficult to relay, but hopefully what I gave you was sufficient to give y'all the understanding of like why it seemed like, you know, I wasn't really as you know, just not doing music anymore. It's not that I never wanted to stop doing music. This is what I've always wanted to do since I was a baby, like real talk. But it just wasn't, things were not going as planned, and it's like had to shift gears, had to figure out how to navigate doing music without the support, without the resources. And yeah, I think things are opening up for me, and I do believe that 2022 is going to be a very fruitful, productive, lucrative, prosperous year. So, yep, that's about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you coming through and listening to what I had to say. And you can follow me on Instagram as well. I'm a little more active on there. I do some content creation stuff over there, and that also helps me a little bit with my coin. So please support, share my reels and things like that. And God willing, you will see a lot more from me very soon. Until then, peace.